Hey, it's Rachel from All About Planners. In this video, I'm doing a review of the Whistle & Birch Weekly Planner. So if you follow my blog or YouTube, this may be familiar because I did do a review of this planner for 2019. So why am I doing a review of the 2020 planner? Because there have been some updates to the weekly spreads. There's some new designs, like this really pretty marble cover. There's some different extra pages, including one that I really want to use and adapt into a weekly planner. So I'm not going to go into as much detail as I did for the 2019 review. I'll include that link below if you wanted to have a look. I'm just going to do a bit more of a quick flip through just to give you an idea of some of the changes, and if you want to have a look at the other one in detail, that link will be below. I'll also include a link below to one of the weekly spreads that I've done with my favorite layout from this planner company, so that link will be below if you're interested. So this is what I would call a medium-sized planner. It is around about 7.5 inches wide by about 9 inches high. Now it is a 12-month planner with a fair few extra pages. There's also the dividers, etc. So it can get a bit heavy, keep that in mind. This is not a planner I'd probably take with you. I'd leave this on your desk at home just because it is a bit heavy. Really love the cover. So I much prefer planners that have this kind of frosted cover on the front and then a thin like glossy cardstock cover on the inside, rather than just having this with the laminate over the top. I find that that's a bit cheap and a little bit tacky because it does tend to get more damaged if it's just laminate. I find that it holds up better if it's got this frosted cover and then the nice pretty pattern cover underneath, so kind of like two covers. So it's got the same nice big bright coloured tabs as last year. Now if you're in Australia, it has this new public holidays page. If you're in America, don't worry about it. You can obviously just ignore that page. It's the only thing that's really like Australian focused about the planner. You can live anywhere in the world and use this one. Got some annual overview planning pages. I really like this format, which I'm seeing a few more planners doing now, which is great. Got the dates at a glance and then list underneath, which you can use however you want. So you might want to do seasonal tasks or like your cleaning routine, birthdays, anniversaries, project planning. I tend to use these kind of pages for planning out products for my shop, but you can use it for like anything. So really nice open-ended layout. The same dividers as last year with the same like themed things on them. Purple, pink's really nice, so is the blue. So as for the planner itself, you've got the line notes page, a monthly divider, and then it has the monthly planning page. Now I do kind of wish, it's the same as last year, I do wish that it had changed to either a completely neutral layout, so like this, or neutral color scheme rather, versus having like neutral colors and then this random pop of color on the divider. I find that a little bit odd. I'd rather just a full color planner, like with all these pretty colors, or just a full neutral planner rather than kind of this odd mix of the two. Really like that they've kept the monthly planning page really functional. So you got the birthdays, 3 goals, checklist, can never have too many of them, and a habit tracker, which not many planners include. So a very functional monthly overview page. Then you got the monthly dashboard, and then the monthly calendar. So it's a similar design to last time, couple of updates, really only the bold days of the week here with, the weekend starts on a Monday, which I much prefer because then you get the weekend clustered together, and then a nice big line sidebar on the side. Now this is why I love this planner. This weekly spread is like perfect for the way I plan. Now updates for this year, they have made the Saturday and Sunday boxes the same, well just about the same as the weekly spread. So last year was only about 2 lines and it was just a little bit too small, whereas this is better because now it's a little bit bigger. So a small weekly spread, if like me you tend to just work off a list and you might have a couple of things allocated to each day. I tend to use a weekly planner just for blog planning or major events. I don't really allocate tasks to a day. I prefer to just have a to-do list over here on the side, which I'll just work off as I please. So I don't really allocate tasks to a day. I find that just doesn't work for me. I'd rather just have a big list and then just tick it off whenever I have time as I go. So this one has a combination of checklist, line list, which I ended up adding into another checklist as well, and then a little dot grid down the bottom here, which you could use as a habit tracker. So when I use this, I'll have the link to that spread below. I had like projects to do, and then like just random sort of brain dumping to do, and it worked really well. So I'm definitely going to be using this spread again for 2020. So she included most of the planner with this weekly spread because it was my favorite. However, she did add the other weekly spreads if you wanted to see what they look like as well. So if I just show you those, so this is the vertical. So you got the 3 boxes for each day plus a checklist down the bottom. Very good if you like to do decorating. That's when I recommend using this type of vertical layout. Or if you like to categorize things like home, kids, and yourself. If you want to cluster things together. The horizontal, which is so functional with all the lined writing space. So most horizontal planners don't include lines, which kind of drives me nuts. I much prefer the lined ones because then it keeps it nice and neat. Then there is also this new one, which has the schedule up the top and then a checklist down the bottom. So I personally would not use this one just because I don't like to work off a schedule, but if you do, this one has kind of small columns, so I'd probably be inclined to write out like your tasks down here, give them a number, and maybe just write the number against the time, or use some sort of color coding, like maybe green highlighter is like a relax break, and then if you've got like purple appointment, just like color coding it because you are a bit tight on space in these columns. You do get a proper column though for Saturday and Sunday. I know some vertical hourly planners will combine them, which I don't really understand why. So this one has it clustered together. And the start date is consistent. So the weekly spread starts on a Monday, same with the monthly calendars. So that's the vertical hourly. This one is more of like a family planner, or you could use it for school, where you can have different little like titles in the box here. So you could have your kids' names, or you could do it by category. So if you like to cluster things when you're planning, this would be a good layout. And then we also have this one, which is kind of like, they call it a teacher layout, but I've used it for just personal planning myself. I'll have that link below down there if you wanted to have a look at how this spread turns out. Functional with a little checkbox, and these are quite wide, so you do get less for Saturday and Sunday, but if you do have overflow you could just use this down the bottom here. I much prefer the wider boxes because you can actually fit stuff in them. If it's too narrow, I mean, you can fit like 2 words and it's too crammed, so this is a bit wider, so I much prefer that. And then at the back she included a couple of the extra pages that you can choose from, so you can switch out like the monthly planning page with more checklists or some of these other pages at the back here. So we've got some, just a sec, let's go to the notes. Okay, so if you prefer, you could have a monthly expenses page. I actually use Excel, but if you wanted to do it on paper and have it all in one with all of your planning, keep it like a home-based binder type thing, then you could use the monthly expense page. There's some graph paper. There is these like daily planning add-ons. So if you really like a schedule, but maybe you only need it occasionally on a really busy day, you don't want the entire planner to be a schedule, then you could have this one because it's in 15-minute increments from 8 a.m. all the way down to 7 p.m. And then dot grid, can never go wrong with dot grid, love it. And the bright white paper. I have done a pen test of this planner, which I'll also include a link below. Really love the bright white though, ugh, love it. Now this is the other layout that I really wanted to try. So they call this like a goals add-on page, but I'm going to use it for weekly planning. So I've got like blog post idea, and then I can do blog post workflow, and then that similar layout that I showed you before that I love so much with all of the lines and the checklist, etc. So I'm going to try out this 2-page spread for weekly planning. You got some timetable if you're a student, and then a professional development page, notes. Now this one, they call it records as like a teacher. However, I've used this type of layout for like a blog post workflow where I've listed out all my blog posts and then the tasks like draft, edit, sort photos, etc. I also use this type of sheet for planning my photo books. So when I go traveling and come back, I do a photo book like for each country or each place, whatever that I went to. So I'll list out all the tasks, like sort the photos, you know, sort the templates in blurb, etc. And then I'll have like the countries, all the places up the top, and you can just tick it off as you go. Really good if you've done a big trip and it's a bit overwhelming trying to sort out all the photos and you're like, oh my god, it's going to take me forever. So much prefer to use this kind of like blog post, like sort of workflow template thing for my photo books as well. And then you get a pocket fold at the back, which is double-sided, and then there is also these like pocket clear folder things at the back too. So I hope you found this review helpful. I will have the full one if you want to see like a proper assembled one, not this custom planner that she made for me. I'll have that link below along with the pen test. Look at that pretty color. And the weekly spreads that I've done with this planner, etc. It will all be below down there. Don't forget to subscribe. I usually post a couple of review videos each week.